Hey everybody, welcome back. Movie review time, where basically we geek out about a movie we just saw. And we just saw Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets. Alright, so we just got back from the theater. We just saw Valerian. We did see it in 3D. And we're trying it differently these days, unless you guys tell me otherwise. And we may go back to the old system of 2 videos. But for now, we're going to do a no spoiler thing. And then we'll talk spoilers at the end. We'll give you plenty of warning so you can get out with plenty of time. And you don't have to worry about us spoiling anything. Yeah. Though I will say, I don't think there's really that much to spoil. Because there's not a lot of... It's not a very deep story. That's all I'm getting at. But for starters, let's hear what the lady, because, you know, okay, actually, this is some good, like, information for you guys to know where we're coming from. We both like both of these things, but in general, I'm more of a story guy, and she's more of a visual gal. So she probably liked this a little bit more than I did. So what did you think?
I loved it.
Ooh, love, that's a strong word.
It's pretty.
It is very, very pretty movie. And again, very glad we saw it in 3D.
Yes.
So it was definitely worth it in 3D.
But the thing is, I'm one of those people a lot of times, with as far as story goes, I'm sitting here going like, oh look, there's a ride, I'm along for it. You know. I
can do that too. And we were actually having a nice discussion about science fiction on the way over to her place. And how, like, you know, generally for great sci-fi, and I don't need this from all sci-fi, but generally from great sci-fi, there is great story, you know, that challenges your perception of existence or being a human or whatever, something like that. Yeah. There was none of that in this, so. But she didn't miss it, so. Because I can do ride films. Like, I enjoy the Fast and the Furious movies. But I don't go into those looking for something that's going to change my perception of how things exist, you know?
I didn't go into this movie looking for that either. I just went, I'm here for the visuals.
Well, and again, the way the movie starts, it kind of put me into that mindset of, oh, maybe they are going to do something really great with the story in this. Which, you know, and I'm not saying it's a bad story, it's just, there's not really much story to it. It's kind of predictable. My thing was that I didn't even realize the plot had happened until we're halfway in the movie, and I'm like, oh, this is the plot? Oh, okay. Okay, I kept waiting for, like, something to happen that was going to start the plot. Like, I thought we were still all in setup mode, because it's very fast-paced. I didn't feel like it was, like, slow or anything. It's just all of a sudden I realized, oh, we're probably, like, halfway through the movie, and this is what the story is.
See, I didn't have that problem. I just went, okay, plot. So I'm not really sure where you got lost at.
No, it's not that I got lost. You can totally follow it. It just wasn't like, it wasn't clearly drawn that here's the story you're going with. Here's the adventure you're going on. And I don't mean that they need to spoon feed it to me. Well, it's just like, it still felt like we were setting up the world, and we're halfway into the movie, and I realized, oh no, this is the plot. There's not something bigger coming along that's supposed to start happening. It's like, it's a very simple, you know, like, hey, everybody chase after the MacGuffin kind of plot, basically.
Like I said, and I don't know if that's a function of the director or the script, but...
Sorry, I just saw Levy. Yeah, well, again, and we'll get more into that as we get more in depth here, but I think, again, we do have to keep in mind, and for those of you that don't know, this is based on, like, a series of graphic novels, French graphic novels from the 1960s that were heavily influential into all the sci-fi we grew up with. I mean, even Lucas himself is like, oh yeah, like, I pretty much, you know, I took half the movie from that, basically. And you could see it, too. Like, I was thinking in the beginning of that movie, it's like, this would have been George Lucas's kind of wet dream for the Star Wars prequels. Yeah. Because I think that's what he was going for, was this movie. Yeah. I might take some shit for this, but I kind of feel like the Star Wars prequels had more story than City of a Thousand Planets did.
I don't really remember Star Wars prequels.
Fair enough. We'll move on anyways, because we were also debating about, like, Star Wars is not science fiction, it's science fantasy.
Yeah, outside, like, the lightsaber fights, yeah, I don't remember that much.
Yeah, okay, fine. But yeah, like in Valerian, they even have, like,
there was
carbonite.
That pod racing thing, wasn't there?
Yeah, and tell me, like, when they come up on the tourist destination, that didn't kind of look like coming up on a pod racing kind of thing to me. I just really got that vibe. And the underwater stuff reminded me of Phantom Menace. And again, this was what inspired all of that, so it's all cyclical, so I'm not really faulting anything for that. But that was definitely an element there.
Yeah.
So again, that kind of hurts too. It's like, you know, if you weren't familiar with the source material before seeing all the other stuff, it can make this feel a little bit like, oh, this is something I've experienced before. However, to a much better degree, because the effects and everything, and it's stunning.
Yeah.
And I 100% understand why she loves it as a visualist, because visually it is a gorgeous film. The effects are very fantastic.
And the thing is, and not only that, this is one of those movies where I would love to. I could do several movies in the series because they've done so much world building.
Yeah, and again, this was also something I would like where I'm a little let down in the film, or aggravate is not the word, but something that bothered me is that because this was based on something that's so epic and so expansive, I felt like they tried to cram too much world into this one movie, and that was already fast. Like, this could have been longer. It didn't feel slow, but it could have been longer if they wanted to delve more into that, or maybe they needed to save a little bit more for if they were going to franchise it and do that stuff in the future.
See, I have a feeling that I know, well, we're all franchise happy and everything.
These days, it's a big,
Sci-fi has a rough go of it. I mean, like, uber sci-fi.
Yeah, and it's
like Jupiter Ascending.
Right, which we actually kind of like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got its flaws, but we would have seen a sequel to that.
Yeah.
Then again, we're pretty easy with our expectations.
Yeah, but so I can kind of see, it's like, I might only get one shot at this. Let me just cram all this in here.
Yeah, I kind of get that too. And again, this is like the movie he's been dreaming of. My understanding is when he made Fifth Element, this was what he wanted to make, but this was unachievable at the time.
Right.
So, I mean, I totally understand that. So, I mean, so story for me was just let down, and I could see where apparently a lot of other critics, it's divided, but a lot of people are like, this is a jumbled mess kind of thing. I don't think it's that bad.
It's not a jumbled
No,
mess.
you can understand what's going on.
If you think it's a jumbled mess, you're not paying attention.
Yeah, I just think, and then maybe some people are just too distracted by the visuals so they can't follow things. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just theorizing. That's not a case we had. If anything, maybe some people, because it's so spectacular in the visual elements, maybe they were just expecting, like me, the story to hopefully be as spectacular as the effort that went into the visuals, because the story was just kind of undercooked to me, because it was just so simplistic. But that's kind of how I feel about that, without getting into spoilers. But we can talk about the actors and stuff, because there's some interesting stuff there.
Okay.
Do you want to start? Because you'll probably be more positive than I. And I'm not going to be super negative, but I have some problems.
No, you go ahead and start, because I know what you're going to say.
Okay, yeah, because we talked about it a little bit on the way home. I like Dane DeHaan a lot. I like Cara, not Duvall, Delevingne, something like that. I'm just pronouncing it wrong.
I can't remember her name.
But I really like both of them. They were fine together. Their banter was pretty good, but I didn't really get a lot of chemistry from them. And the romance element was just non-existent to me.
I think that may have been a director thing. Because what I've seen them do in the past,
yeah,
I kind of really feel that the director's like, keep it like super cool,
Yeah, I could totally see that. And even if it just comes down to him okaying the casting, and maybe they just didn't have the chemistry right, or maybe they did have it and he's giving them direction that's separating them. And then also too, as an actor, this movie was guaranteed to be like 90% probably green screen, which can be very draining on an actor.
Well, I saw a thing with him. It was an interview with the director and Mila Jovovich.
Mila Jovovich, yeah.
And Chris Tucker. It was like they were doing a viewing of something. I don't know if it's Valerian or Fifth Element.
It's probably Fifth Element.
Yeah, I think it was part of their 20th anniversary thing.
Yeah.
But and they were both going out into the level of direction that he does.
Yeah.
He's going like he gave her for Lilu super precise instructions of what exactly he wanted.
I gotcha. All right.
So I'm kind of thinking, I'm leaning towards the director on being maybe at fault for the lack of apparent chemistry.
I
think he had the same mindset. Like they're both, neither one of them wants to really be vulnerable or give in. So it's just like, so both of you just be super cool. Yeah, but I mean, flirty, but super cool.
But even in that, there were moments, and again, maybe it's a director thing, where they aren't looking at each other, but they're looking, they aren't seeing each other look at each other. So, I mean, there could have been just little ticks of the eye movement or something that shows oh, I'm trying to be cool, but yeah, this is working for me kind of thing. Or something when like that just wasn't pushed that well for me, I thought.
Yeah.
And they were the main characters, and they weren't boring or anything.
Yeah.
It just didn't really click for me as much as I wanted it to. Because if I'm not getting a great story, I then hopefully could at least get great romance. And you know me, like I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. I got nothing from that.
Yeah.
Also, I think all the characters in this are incredibly one-dimensional. There's no character arcs for anybody.
Yeah.
Nobody grew, you know.
And I'll agree to that. But again, I wasn't really looking for it.
Yeah, and again, that's where I want some kind of story. It doesn't even have to be great, but and then I think all the bit players are way more fascinating than the main players, like some of the creatures and stuff.
Yeah, but that
and they're
happens
completely
almost all
underdeveloped.
the time.
Yeah, true. But there was a huge divide in how engaging watching some of those people that showed up for like one scene versus watching the leads through the whole movie in terms of energy and interest. Like, why can't I just have it like there's a fisherman character? It's like, why can't I just have a whole movie about this guy? He's interesting.
But thing is, if we did do a whole movie with that guy, would he stay interesting?
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I get where you're coming from.
And that's the advantage of these people who only have one scene is they can chew and steal the hell out of it and
well, again, and that comes back to the director too, because there's a balance issue that they were allowed to like totally chew the scenery, where the others, I guess, were pulled down to be like too normal. It's like that should have been maybe a little bit more balanced.
Yeah.
And again, this is all just a personal opinion, and I feel like I'm crapping on this movie, which I'm not. I will say some great things about it, because I did really enjoy it, and I'm glad we got to see it.
There's some concept stuff that we can't really talk about here.
Yeah, we'll get into spoilers for that.
Yeah, but I'm sitting here going like, that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a neat idea.
Yeah.
It definitely makes me want to go read the graphic novels and see if that certain elements were in those novels or not, which they probably were. But, we'll see.
But yeah, it's just like, I would love to see a sequel for this.
Yeah, I would too. I don't think we're going to get one. Luc Besson doesn't really do sequels anyways.
Yeah.
So it's probably that element as well.
Yeah, because again...
Pun not intended.
But again, that's why I kind of feel like there was so much crammed into this, because he's going like... Because I think he probably had been telling you, I'm probably going to do this one.
Yeah.
And because this is one of those things where I'd like to see the DVD release, because I'm sure there's so much stuff that ended up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, or even just I'm fascinated about the actual technical side of how they achieved it all, because I think that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because underwater effects, there's no gravity effects, all that kind of stuff was really cool. So.
And that and just the sheer amount of creature design.
Yeah, there's just so much design going on. But yeah, so I mean, and again, pacing's fine and everything. Maybe not quite as much action as I would have expected in terms of a lot of the big action set pieces were already in the trailers.
Yeah.
So there wasn't anything too... There's definitely a lot you didn't see in the trailers, but nothing too spectacular.
I don't know. Some of the action scenes were pretty good.
Yeah, no, they were. But again, I think those were ones that we already had a big taste of, like the cool moments from in the trailers. Like for instance, and this is in the trailer, if you want to la 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 for 30 seconds, I'll do it like this. When my fingers come out, you can la la la. But when he's like busting through walls and shooting his gravity gun or whatever, running around.
Yeah.
That was cool. But the coolest part of that was in the trailer.
True.
So
there are some fight scenes that were not in the trailer.
No, I agree. So. And they just weren't as spectacular as some of the stuff in the trailer. But I get that you have to use that stuff to really sell the movie.
Yeah.
But then it's like, if you're using that to sell the movie, in my mind, that means you should be like, but I've got stuff even cooler you haven't seen yet. So, I mean, again, just personal taste. Yeah, you guys understand, reviewers, it's all subjective. All this stuff's subjective. You don't have to agree. I'm just giving you my opinion.
Okay, so...
and we hit pacing, characters, designs, and stuff. I think we're wrapping up the no spoilers. That's why I'm kind of just see if there's anything. No post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Music is all right. Music's interesting.
Yeah.
Nothing too spectacular in there. It definitely made me want to go home and play some PlayStation VR. Just because there's some like hub stuff going on. I'm like, oh man, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with all our spoiler talk. Sweet. All right. We'll be right back.
Hi.
And welcome back. I'm going to leave that in. All right. So we're going to make sure to be clear. We are going to start talking spoilers. Okay. Yep. So if you don't want spoilers, hit that pause button, exit out, come on back when you're ready for spoilers, all that kind of stuff. So it was trying to give you... Because again, I hate it when people are like, spoilers, and then say it. It's like, give somebody a second to hit the pause button.
True.
So I'm just trying to do that. Okay. And then here is your actual warning. Spoilers! All right, cool. All right, so now that they're all gone and it's just the cool kids. No.
Okay. Oh God.
All right,
let's start.
spoilerific. You want to talk conceptuals?
Conceptuals.
Conceptuals, is that a word? I guess.
Yeah.
It is now. We said it. All right.
Well, first of all, the opening sequence with
Yes.
the creation of Alpha.
And this is what I liked, and this is where like I thought, oh, maybe this is going to do something that talks about human nature and existence, because it kind of shows the growth of the space program and then how it evolves in the future, and us, integrating with alien species, and and then like the whole big Alpha City of a Thousand Planets forming and having to go off into space, and I thought, oh, all right, this is going to be cool. And also, like I was telling her, I know there's like supposedly time travel elements that did not play into this movie.
I don't even know where you really got that.
Well, also they talk about that they can travel through time and stuff.
Well, their spirit when it leaves the body. But
right. Well, they didn't clarify that in the movie and everything. But
they did.
They? I
They
missed
specifically said that.
Point being, they talk about all that. That's apparently a big part of it from the books, and there's none of that in the movie. Because I was like, oh, that'd been so cool if they would have done that. Because I thought that's what was going to happen. See, I didn't know it was a spirit thing. I just knew about the time travel thing. So when it started in the 70s, I was like, oh, are they going to like just show up in the middle of this shooting aliens and like blow these astronauts' minds? So, but that was a very cool opening. So yeah, I agree.
Especially like when the first alien ship shows up and they're like, fuck?
Yeah.
Huh? Okay, hi.
Yeah. Hi. But I love...
And I like that because, almost every sci-fi thing, it's like, pull out the blasters. Okay, I guess we won't kill you. And it's like, hi.
Right. But I like that too, and they went through all the various aliens and just shaking all the aliens' hands, regardless of if they had hands or not. I like the slimy handshake. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just dripping. So I mean, that was a really great way to start the movie, and it was with Major Tom with the song.
Space Oddity.
Yeah, Space Oddity. Right. So that was a real nice touch.
Or space.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
I'm thinking the 80s song that plays off of that.
I know that's the one I'm always thinking. I think that's the one that's actually called Major Tom.
Yeah, I believe
so.
That's
But
right.
it was actually the Space Oddity one.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If you stop and think about it, you go, wait, I'm confused now.
Yes.
It's like trying to think about tying your shoes.
Okay. Anyway.
No. Yeah.
I get what you're saying. All right. Review.
Hi,
oh,
Eddie
jeez. God, you startled me. Can you see? Eddie Bit just came up and bonked me on the shoulder. Yeah, they could see it. But yeah. So conceptually, you also wanted to talk about the tourist.
The big market.
Yeah, the big market thing, because that was really cool.
Yeah. So it's you go. Hi.
Oh, you're in the video, Eddie Bit. It's okay. Just chill there. Be cute. Okay. In the market.
Sorry. This is my kryptonite right here.
Yeah.
Get this. Okay. So
Oh, good. Now.
Imagine you go to this desert in the middle, middle of nowhere. There's not a whole lot out there, but everybody's given these VR headsets and gloves and everything. And then you go through a portal and suddenly you're in this huge marketplace. It's like 1 million stores. You could quite literally buy anything you want. Because it's apparently some sort of multi-dimensional shared space. And there's these devices that will transport items from one of these dimensions to the other dimension. It's really, the strategy that goes into having to...
I'm being molested by
You're
Eddie Bit.
being distracting.
Sorry. I am. I'm sorry.
It's not Eddie Bit distracting me.
I'm sorry.
You're distracting
I'm sorry. Go
me.
ahead. This is the thing that made me want to put on my PSVR headset too.
And so it just watching them figure out how the strategy for going in and extracting the creature. Converter.
The converter, which is really cool.
Yeah, God, it's so cute.
It was kind of cute. I was waiting for you to and she did.
But I just love that conception of.
Of how like you would shop and travel. And like 5 years from now, that's how we're going to do Amazon shopping. We're going to be walking through the virtual store. Only we just don't have the matter converters that transmit it immediately. Yeah. And then it'll just be the drone drop off from there. But yeah, I thought that was a really cool idea, and that was pretty neat. They do a really good job with all the different aliens, and showing all kinds of species. I was a little worried in the very beginning when they show the pearls. Is that what they're called? The species is called, because like it was so long and so focused, and like she did the oh, look at this beautiful world, like 20 fucking times.
Yeah, that was a little overkill.
I know, and I was like, oh god, is this going to be the problem with the movie where it's like, hey, this is just about looking at the movie. We're not even going to tell you a story. But
I think that's where where the director fell in love with that particular visual and just like, can we just fit that in a few more?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like learning from Itty Bit here. But I was glad that was only in that scene. And in hindsight, it did make sense that they wanted to play that up because of what the story actually is. You know, the whole loss of that whole civilization.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that planet, Mule. Yeah,
Mule.
You with umlauts.
Mule.
That's kind of right up there now with Pandora for me to places I would like to go visit if I could.
Nice to know. Maybe we'll get a PSVR experience. Actually, I wonder if there might be there should be a PSVR Valerian experience. I gotta go look that up.
That would be wow.
Yeah, if there's not, somebody's totally missed a great opportunity. But anyways, so. But yeah, so I was glad they didn't really get too into that with everything, because I thought, this is going to be just, hey, look at this beautiful civilization we've created instead of an actual movie. But no, it worked.
But again, whenever you have like the level of world building that they have, I'm sitting here going like, I need like a TV show or something, because you've got all these excellent set pieces that I would love to spend more time in.
And that's what I was talking about. Like, I feel like they almost had to try and cram too much into one movie.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I come from, because I'm with you. I would have liked to have learned a little bit more about some of these things.
It's like a Zootopia.
Yeah, I mean, more extreme than that, but yeah. I can see what you're saying.
But
so there was that. I like the gravity gun thing. We should talk about the Rihanna stuff too.
Yeah.
She was all right. She wasn't good. She wasn't bad.
To some degree, I'm kind of wondering how much of that was the material she had to work with, because
I don't know. Have you seen Battleship?
No.
I have. It's not as bad as people say, but she is in that one. Anyways, she's much better in this one, but still, but I liked her better as the actual alien form. I was way more into it. Was it Bob? Bubble. Yeah. So I mean, that was way cooler. And then her death, man. Yeah. It was so like, what? Okay. It was like it just kind of just happened. You didn't see it happen. Like they're in the garbage chute, because again, very you can see all the Star Wars things, the design of their ship, everything.
The Interceptor, was it the Intruder? Is what it was.
The Intruder.
It kind of had
it was very Falcon-y. But then like after the garbage chute and Laureline and Valerian find each other, like, oh, good. Hey, where's Bubble? I'm over here. I'm gonna die. I must have got injured in the battle. And then she says goodbye and turns to dust, which is a cool effect and everything. But it's like they didn't even like do the thing where it's like, you know, you look down and see a wound, or you know, you didn't see her take a hit or anything. And when she was in that battle, she looked really fluid about not getting hit. So I'm like, this felt like, we don't need her anymore. She probably got injured. She's died. Here, we'll just kill her.
That was bad writing.
Yeah, so that was a little disappointing, because I just started really getting into that character. Yeah. And they could have tugged at my heartstrings if they had done something more with it, and they didn't. It was just kind of over. The main bad guys, the human bad guys, I've already forgotten them. They're very forgettable.
Well, there's really only one human bad guy.
Well, yeah, I guess
that was the commander.
But I was including the general, because I felt like both those people, who are normally great actors, to me are just really forgettable. I wasn't including them as a villain. I was just thinking of those two guys together because they were the military leader guys.
Wait a minute. So the guy who was in charge after the commander got kidnapped.
The general.
You lumped him in with the bad guys.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not as a bad guy. I was just saying there were two dudes in like high command outfits, and they're both very forgettable. Even though the general has a ton of screen time. Yeah. I'm just like, he left no mark on me whatsoever. It was wrong to include him as a villain. I was just putting those two guys together.
I was about to say,
I know, you're getting hung up on the wrong thing. That's what I'm trying to clarify. No, but both of those characters, the villainous commander and the heroic general, totally forgettable in this movie. Yeah. And I've seen those guys in other things, and they're fantastic actors. So it's not performance, it's just material. They were underdeveloped.
I've seen them before or not, because their looks are so generic.
Well, I'm pretty sure one of them was Clive Owen, and like he was great in like Sin City and a whole bunch of stuff. But
which one was that?
I can't remember if it was the general or the commander. I really can't. They were kind of, again, that's why I probably lumped them
I
together.
spent a good chunk of this movie going like, that person looks vaguely familiar.
I did pick out Ethan Hawke.
The only person I recognized was Rihanna and the two main characters. Rutger Hauer.
Oh, I got excited when I saw Rutger Hauer in the opening credits, and then he's in the very first scene, and he's pretty much done.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay.
He was
thanks.
like the person who's in charge of Earth, going like
this
Alpha.
space station's too big.
Yeah, the space station has its own gravitational pull now. It's kind of fucking with us. Time to push it away.
Yeah. And then at the end, you know, the big climax and everything is a little... I mean, it's a little kind of... And again, we're talking about from material that is very old, so it's hard to complain that it's been done to death. Because this is technically probably the material that did it first. Though I don't know if this is based on a specific story or if they've created their own story in that universe. So I don't know. So that take that with a grain of salt as we review these things. I did like the droid soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
But they were so underused. They're barely used. And you knew they were going to go evil from the get-go.
They were quite literally Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, pretty much. And I liked that they reminded me of the Rogue One Death Troopers, but with like battle droid heads, kind of, a little bit.
I got a vague sort of Cylon vibe off of them.
Yeah, there's that too. They kind of had a modern Cylon head. Yeah, I would use that more than a battle droid head. I couldn't think of a good example, but you know, neck down, they were Death Troopers with a black painted black Cylon head. And you just knew. It was so telegraphed.
Yeah.
And then it was funny because like the troopers are just getting wiped out by them, and they're like shooting machine guns at them and machine guns. And of course Valerian's just like, bam, he's down, bam, he's down, bam, he's down, bam,
my
he's
favorite
down.
one was when he slides underneath the one, shoots from the bottom, the head pops off.
Yeah, that was awesome though. Points for that. That was really cool. Do robots have nards? Robots have nards. Points if you get that reference. I know she does. But you know, so I mean, all that kind of stuff was just really undercooked for me. So I mean, it was definitely one of those things I feel like, kind of like Lucas with the prequels, where too much emphasis and focus on let's get the CG and the visuals to be incredible, and they probably should have spent a little more of that effort on the actual story and character development.
At least they don't have Jar Jar.
I feel like they had some aversion of Jar Jar. Anyway.
No, but God, I love the three informants.
There's your Jar Jar. No. No, they're way more entertaining than Jar Jar. But yeah, the three informants. We should do a little bit about that and start wrapping this one up. But
yeah, cause I actually, they were probably my favorite characters in the movie, just because the I don't know if it was one actor doing three parts or not, but because the credits, I don't like how they did the credits. The
cast were like in two columns. It was very hard.
Yeah, and they were sorted out by groups, but unless you knew exactly which group you were looking for, it was kind of like
yeah, that was a little weird.
Damn, it's gone.
But those three dudes were really funny. I do like what they added. They were actually was there really much other comedy relief other than those guys? I mean, I think back on it, I think there was some failed comedy with Valerian and Laureline, but
well, no, I mean like where Laureline gets kidnapped and
actually,
the alien with like the dresses.
Okay, yeah, the dress alien thing, that was pretty funny, and that they were gonna like basically like nutcracker her head to sample it and everything. When you were led to believe it was gonna be a marriage thing,
yeah.
I thought that was really clever. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
And then you just reminded me of earlier when that was cool at the resort thing when they shoot the needle into the guard.
Oh yeah.
And the guy like has his VR helmet on and he's like controlling the being.
Yeah.
And then I thought
he starts like singing and dancing, and his commander's going like, "Knock it off."
Right,
sir.
Well, I just realized I feel like Laura Lee had more chemistry with that guy than she did Valerian, because they were actually kind of, it wasn't flirty, but there was a vibe there. And I was like, oh, you know, that just clicked in my brain.
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm not knocking any of these actors because I really like them. I just don't think they worked that well together. It might have been a case of Luc Besson being like, hey, these are the actors that the studios will let me put in the movie that look the most like the original characters, instead of more like finding that chemistry. Because, you know, like Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher, they had freaking chemistry. And the thing was, like, my understanding, I may be wrong, but they weren't really supposed to get together, you know, in the original Star Wars. But it was after they made the original Star Wars, they're like, oh, wait, no, those two work really well together.
Because they were having an affair.
Wasn't everybody on Star Wars? But, except George Lucas. Anyways, that's a whole other movie. But yeah, I just thought that was, that realization just hit me about the chemistry there. All right. Anything really else, though? I mean, you know, plenty of worlds. Ethan Hawke was kind of wasted. Some of the other bit characters we feel like should have been somebody, wasn't somebody. 3D was spectacular.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad we got to see it. It's definitely worth seeing in 3D.
Yes, definitely go see in 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those things where I'll think of something after we stop shooting.
That's how it always goes. But I mean, we're already past like half an hour on this review. So.
Oh, damn, okay.
That's why I'm trying to again, that's where I'm trying to get better at my reviewing. And I was trying to keep things tighter, but we go on tangents. Can't help it. Squirrel? Itty bit? She got bored of not being on camera. All right, well, I guess that's it, guys. So let's wrap this up. So if you want to comment, just try to use spoiler tags or something, because, a lot of people may be watching the no spoilers thing. Just try not to ruin it for other people. But as you saw, there's no real plot twist. It's pretty obvious.
If you really don't want spoilers, just don't read the comments.
Well, by now it'd be too late if they watch this whole video to find
true.
that information. That's the thing we got to figure out, is we got to remind people up front.
Yeah.
Don't look at the comments.
I did that last time, I forgot.
Yeah, again, we're getting used to the new system. May go back to the old. I just like this a little bit better right now, so we don't have to repeat ourselves so much. But there you guys go. So comment away. Just be cool about it. Let us know if you're going to see it. If you agree, you disagree, those kind of things. Cool. Yeah. Click that thumbs up button. Give us a thumb of encouragement. We do love to be encouraged. All right, we're going to get out of here and go watch some more stuff. We'll see you all later.